Welcome back to the workshop, Handyman. We're going to be working on something I was trying to get out of working on today. Yeah, it's another mechanical device. Why can't I get good carpentry projects? I don't know. Anyways, this will be for another part of maybe my subscribers. I always appreciate y'all, and you end up getting a lot of variety. I know not everybody's interested in all of them. But what we've got today, let me see if I can show you what we do have here. We've got us a 90cc Suzuki, and according to the label up here, this was manufactured in February of '72. You can see it back in there a little bit. So it's been around for a long time. The customer's been trying to get someone to change this flat tire for her. And they've got everything else done with the machine, I guess. She says they've put new carburetor on it and they've got it all fixed up and running, but nobody knows or wants to help her out with the flat tire. So after, I don't know, probably the last time I ever tried doing this was 40 or 45 years ago, something maybe longer. We're going to try it, see if I can do it. I think I can handle it. Like I say, we should be able to do this. I think if memory serves me, take the brake lever off of that. Looks like that other bar down there just kind of holds that in place. And we'll have to get a couple of these off over here. And first thing I'm going to have to do is try to figure out how to lift it up so I can work on that. I might have to just hook that up on the back side of that strap right there with my lawnmower hoist and see if I can hoist it in the air, see if I can work on it that way. Let's give it a shot. We'll see what we end up with. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can hook it and hoist it and see what she'll do. Okay, so it looks like phase one good. We've got my lawnmower lift, hooked it to the bar back here. We've got it picked up, took a couple of little jack stands, set them up underneath there, and I think it can't go too far. It feels pretty darn solid to me, so I think we're ready to start tearing that tire off of there. I think we've got us a plan. We'll go ahead and see if we can remove a couple bolts, see if that tire will come off of there. Okay, to take this thing apart, it looks like we need to just loosen this up, take this nut here off. That's your brake lever. And then I've already loosened this one up. We got to take this brace off. It just pops off of there. Drop that out of the way, and we'll put this back on here to keep it in place. Well, I thought I was going to just do that, but I am a little bit butterfingered. Let's see if we can get that thing to start back on here. And then next thing we need to do is a 10mm wrench. We'll back these off. And this is where we're going to adjust the chain tension when we get done. So we can put that actually, yeah, I guess that'll flop around. And this one here just pops off. See my spring that pop off. We'll set that to the side. That's all we have on this side of the tire. And then we move around onto this side. And we'll basically be doing the same thing. I'd already removed the cotter pin that's in here. And so we take our 10mm and we loosen this one up also. And once we get that loosened up, we can take a, well, I got a crescent wrench. We're just going to take this, bust that loose with the crescent. And we can take that, and then there's a little spacer washer here. We're going to set that in the tray, and then we're going to take this one, bust it loose. I think we, well, actually, need to check something here. Maybe get a hammer. I don't think we really need to take that loose. We just need to pop that right out of there because that other bolt, or that screw here, is just holding this in there. And we don't care if that holds that in there. That makes it that much easier. So we give that a little tap. And from there, we should be able to come around on this side now again. And hopefully we'll be able to just grab a hold of this and pull it on out. I'll set that down, and that's going to have this all fall apart. Spacer goes there like that. And we move this ahead a little bit, get the chain off. Oops, here. I don't know if we got that loose enough on that other side. We do have to maybe loosen that just a little bit over here to get that chain loose. We just don't need to take it all the way. Okay. There we go. Get the tire out, and she'll fall right on out. And don't lose our little piece here. I'm missing it now. This little nut here, we don't want to miss that. That goes down here into our brake, and that's going to go on our rod there. So we'll set that right there so we don't lose it. And then we look at our brakes here. This is our brake assembly. That just comes on out if you want to. Brake pads are all good, so that's fine. We can just set that off to the side too. And now we can go ahead and we're going to bust the tire down. Okay, first thing I like to do on this is I've taken the valve stem cover off, but inside this, a lot of times you'll have to look and see. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's actually got a little wrench in there. You can actually use that to remove your valve stem. You should be able to. There we go. Just tip it over and use the back side of it, and then you can pull the valve stem out. And once we get that out, then it'll let the rest of the air out. Okay, the next thing I've got to do is remove the tire. With those, I have these, what they call spoons, and we're going to just simply take those and we'll end up getting them into the side of this, and you just wedge them on up out, and you work it all the way around. And this is usually a little bit of a fighting experience. So yes, you do one, and then you take the next one, you shove it in there, and you kind of bust them off. I'm going to start away from that valve stem a little bit because I'm hoping this tube has just got the nut not tight. But I'm going to go ahead and, like I say, we're just going to kind of work this thing on around like that until we get the tire off, and then we'll be able to remove the tube. Okay, once you got that done, you pull your tube all out. Make sure you kind of wrestle it out of there. Kind of helps, I guess, if you push that valve stem up in there before you get the tire too far out of the way. Really, probably the most difficult part now is to put it back together without popping your tube. So they're damaging it. So you're just going to start out by making sure that your little nut here on the tube is tightened down. And then we're going to simply set that valve stem in place, and then just kind of pack it in around the outside edge of that. Okay, I've got the tube all stuck back into there. Let's see if we can kind of get you on that. And then now what the trick is, make sure that it's all stuck in so you're not got anything sitting between the tire and that. And then we're going to try to just kind of roll this thing on down into there to where it doesn't catch that tube. And so normally I can do this with just my knees and kind of pushing on it a little bit, and you work it all the way around. Sometimes it helps to have, well, this hammer, I did have an end on it. I don't want to push with that. Get something soft like a stick or whatever and kind of push it as you go. Kind of helps. Sometimes you have to use these, but when you do, you're always taking a chance every time you break those out of hitting that tube, and that's when you have leaks. So it's just work it on as best you can. Okay, once you get that tube all worked on in there, now you hold your breath and hope like crazy you didn't pop it while you were in the process of it. We'll go ahead and air this up and see if it looks like it's going to do something. Get a little bit in there. Bounce it around a little bit. Make sure she's seated on there right. finish filling her up. 40 pounds pressure. Want this one here. There we go. 40 pounds pressure. And we'll see if that thing holds. We'll check it for leaks. And if it don't, we'll put her back on the bike. Okay, I got soapy water around it. They're all the way around the rim. I see no bubbles anywhere, so I think we've got a good tube gone in. So what we got to do now is just start putting it back together, same way as we took it apart. We set the brakes pads back in, and we'll bring this over, and we should be able to just pick this up and line it back up with that hub. And we don't want to forget our little spacer here. And we also have this one here, and the long side looks like it goes outwards. So we're going to squeeze that in there. Take our rod and put it back. Work that in. And then this will go back up to there. And then next thing I'd like to do before we go too far is get our little nut that we had here. I think we're catching all this without my leg maybe being in the way. That just simply sits back in that hole. And then we got to remember our spring. And the spring just goes over the rod. And then the last but not least, we got to have our nut to go back on it. So we take this and spin her up out the way a little bit. We should be able to line that back up. Might have to push on the brake lever a little bit to get it in there even. Shortens it up enough to let me get it back on. And then we can start that back up. And we'll adjust the brakes here in a little bit. And then the next part of it will be this one, which we've got the nut and the bolt already here. So let's bring that up, spin that hub around, lock washer, and the nut. We'll come back and tighten that up in a little bit. That's got that side there mostly put back together. And then on the other side, we'll go ahead and tighten these back down to get our chain adjusted. So we need that little 10 millimeter, yes, I think that's what that was. Yeah, we'll go ahead and tighten these back down and get the chain adjusted and make sure we're centered on our tire. And we didn't move that nut right there a whole lot, so it should be able to pretty much just go right back where it was on both sides. I don't know if you see this over here. Swing you back around. I say we're just tightening this one up so that we can get that chain adjusted. It's a little slow, but that's all right. We just want to make sure that we got the chain a little bit of tension to her, and then we just lock it down with the lock nut. And then we've got to lock this one back down. Tighten it down pretty good. Holds everything in place. And last but not least, we have our washer and castle nut. So we'll put those on. And once you get that snug down a little bit, line up our hole. We'll put a nut in that. Let's make sure we're all the way in on that. Wherever that little hole is, and we'll, like I say, we'll get another nut on that. And now we need to go ahead on this side and let's adjust our brakes a little bit. And the only thing we really need to do on the brakes, well, let's go ahead and tighten this up while we're right here. Make sure that don't fall off. Okay, so then the brakes, we want to make sure when we spin it and we push the brake lever down, it actually stops it. So we just crank this in here. Let's see if we can get you, like I say, you just keep taking this in until you can pretty much almost tell where it starts to hit the pad probably. That was in a pretty good ways. Let's see here. Let's go a little more than that. Make sure that's freewheeling, and when you put on the brakes, it's almost there. A little bit more. You just want to make sure you're not slowing down the tire free movement when the brake's not on. There we go. And that's got the tire back on there. So we can go ahead and let the thing back off the jacks and clean up a little bit, and we'll see. Maybe we'll even test to see if the thing runs. Let's see what happens. Okay, we got it back on the floor, and I did try to kick it over a couple times. It don't seem to want to run. I don't know if I'm going to try to dig into it too much on that, but we may fool with it a little bit more. But as far as this video goes, that's it for the spare tire, or the flat tire. It is the next day, and it's still pumped up and hard, so I think we did a good job on that. Everything's hooked back up. I did get the cotter pin put in the nut down there. I didn't forget that. So other than that, that's it. Hope you found this somewhat interesting if you were going to change your tire or fix a blown inner tube. It was kind of fun going back in the old days and reliving the fun of tearing off a tire. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I do appreciate everybody. And let me know if there's something I can help you with. And we'll chat with you on the next one.